Free verse poetry. Our learning target today is I can describe the elements of free verse and write my own free verse poem. So what is free verse poetry? Well, the cool thing about it, there's no rules. Or are there? So in free verse poetry, guys, you don't have to rhyme, you don't have to have a rhythm, which means basically a beat. It doesn't have to have stanzas, it can have some rhyming words or not at all. It can basically be whatever it wants to be, okay? But in order for it to be considered a poem, there is possibly, I guess, one rule you could say, that you have to have line breaks. So let's take a look at this poem. This author just kind of wrote out their thoughts as if they were writing a normal story. They wrote from one end of the paper all the way to the other end of the paper, okay? And the problem with this is that there's really no line breaks. It doesn't look like a poem. The only piece right now that kind of looks a little bit like a poem is this last little section here. But right now, when the lines are going all the way from one end of the paper to the other end, that's a little too long, and whenever I read this, the breaks sound kind of weird. So if you remember from me breaking the pencil, a line break is where the poet tells the reader to pause a little. So if I read it like this one, it says, "Every day when I come home, my mom always says, 'Honey, do this, honey, do that. Honey, do the floors, honey. Do the stars, I hate honey. Do's, I hate honeydews, 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 honeydews.'" Did you kind of see how that was a little bit awkward with the pause? Like the first line when it says, "Every day when I come." Well, I just feel like it's a little bit awkward of a pause right there. Or this line right here, it says, "Do the stars, I hate honey." And then "do's, I hate honeydews." It's just a little awkward. So we need to come up with some spots to make a line break. So here's what I want you to do. When you write your poem and you do your rough draft, get out those words just like this, write them out from one side of the page to the other, because the important part is just getting the thoughts out and not worrying about all the other pieces. So once you have the thoughts out on paper, just like this person does, then think of where do you want the reader to pause. We're going to have to read this a few times. All right, let's see. Every day when I come. No, I don't like that. Every day when I come home. Every day. No, I don't know if I want them to pause there. Every day when I come home. I kind of like that. So I'm going to draw a line break here. And so this line right here means that when I write my final draft, I'm going to break that to the next line. So every day when I come home. That's a nice pause. My mom always says. No, my mom. My mom always? No. My mom always says, "Honey, do this." Okay, I think I could do that. Or I could even say, my mom always says, "Honey, do this." My mom always says, "Honey, do this." I think I'm going to put my line break right here. Now, there's really no right or wrong answer. It's whatever you think sounds right to you. So now we have, every day when I come home, my mom always says, "Honey, do this. Honey, do that." Maybe I could put a pause right there. Honey, do that. Honey, do. No. Honey, do the floors. Maybe I could pause right there and draw a line. Honey, do the stars. Honey, do. No. Honey, do the. Honey, do the stars. I think that's good. I'm going to pause right there. I hate honeydews. I hate honeydews. I hate honey. I hate honeydews. I think I need to pause right here. And I'm going to make a break here. I think I'm going to leave these last pieces here. Honeydews, honeydews, honeydews. Because I think that the repetition of each line is for a purpose. So now here's the final draft. So do you see how this looks more like a poem? It has the look of it, it has the feel of it. Now I can read it like this. Every day when I come home, my mom always says, honey, do this, honey, do that, honey, do the floors, honey, do the stairs. I hate honeydews, I hate honeydews, 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 honeydews. I like that. So if you remember, our first line break was every day when I come home, and I drew that line. And that's when I started the continuation to the next line here. So I think that I'm going to stick with it like this. Okay, so when you write your own free verse poem, go ahead, like I said, write it all out like this author did. And then try to figure out where should be the breaks. And that's when you'll draw your line breaks. So now what I want you guys to do is go into the Google Doc that's posted under this video link, and just kind of like how we did with the chameleon poetry, where you found your box and you started typing in there, I want you to work on your own free verse poem. It can be about any topic you want it to be. It can be about things that you hate, like this person had. It can be things that you like to do. It can be with an animal. Maybe I know a lot of you really liked writing about excuses for homework, anything like this. So you can use this as inspiration. Maybe it's doing your chores that you hate to do, and write it out like this. Now the last thing I want to leave you with is notice how this person, even though it's all staying on the line like here, but they decided to do a little kind of stairwell here with their words. And I think they did that to try to show some emphasis with the repetition, honeydews, honeydews, honeydews. And it's kind of like it goes on and on and on. So you can try and think of that. You can do a little bit of that and kind of blend in a smidge of concrete poetry with this, and figure out how you want to format it. Remember, it's free verse, so the form is up to you. Okay? Have fun, guys.